Hey, what's up? JR Noble here. Check, check, check. 1, 2. Making sure I have some bass in my voice and my microphone's working right. I was checking out this Childish Gambino cover today of a song that I really love by Tamia called So Into You. And I thought it would be fun to use that as a source of inspiration. And I actually came across something that was kind of eye-opening for me when it comes to making chords. So if you struggle with making your chords sound more interesting, then this might be really helpful for you. So what I like to do is find other people's music that I really like and find out what it is about that music that I like. So I start to deconstruct it and figure out what it is that they used in that song to create it. And then sometimes I'll use that as inspiration to create a new song or whatever. And so for this particular song, I was checking out the chords and the chord progression that they used. And I'm going to jump over into Ableton real quick. And I wanted to show this because if you have trouble with making your chords sound more interesting, R&B and like jazz and gospel music and all those kind of places are really, really rich with like awesome chord progressions and different ideas. What I have here is the chords for this song, and it's in the scale of G major, or sorry, not G major, B flat major, or it's actually G minor. So I have this float key right here, and so I can show you the chords, right? So the chords in this particular song are C, G, F. If you're familiar with music theory a bit, then you'll know that a C minor chord is just this, right? C, D sharp, and a G. And if you're not, then it's just that white key next to the two black keys and that black key to the right on the right side of those two black keys. And then that little white key in between the three black keys kind of to the left. And then in the Tamia song, they just added a seventh. So it sounds kind of pretty. And the seventh meaning the seventh note in the B flat major scale, but we're starting from the C note. So we count up from there. And that would be the seventh note, starting from C, but keeping it in the B flat major scale, if that makes sense. Are you confused yet? Now, the really cool thing that I found was the way they used this chord. And so instead of just playing this, they took the root note, so this note, and they moved it down to the bass. And then all they were left with was these other three notes in that chord. But instead of just leaving it at that, they did an inversion. And then an inversion is where you just move one note in that chord up an octave. But they also moved this note up an octave too. So the first chord sounds really interesting because it's just simply this C minor with a seventh. And then all they did was kind of spread that out across the keyboard. So it sounds a lot more interesting. And so you can take these chords, even if it's just a triad chord, and just move that C down. Right, and just spread it out. So you can take this and spread the chord out and then maybe add some inversions to kind of change the shape of the chord, which changes the sonic characteristics of it. It makes it sound more interesting. So then they just did a similar thing with the G and the F chords. So a G minor starts at G, and then you have the A sharp or B flat, and then you have the D, and they added a seventh. So again, doing the same thing, we just take the G and move that down low. So we move that down one octave. And then what we're left with is the rest of the chord. So all they did after that was take the middle note of that G minor chord and they inverted it up one octave. So now we have the rest of the chord with that inversion. And that's the second chord. And then the last chord is just the F major. So it's F, A, C. Now with this chord, they didn't add a seventh, and all they did was make an inversion of the F chord by moving the C. So if you take the F down one octave, and then you play a higher chord F, and just move the C down. So you can invert going taking a note and moving it up 1 octave or down 1 octave. So that's the 3rd chord. And so they're simply just using an F major and spreading that out across the keyboard too, right? So it's a C minor 7th, G minor 7th, and an F major, if you're familiar with what those terms are. If you're not, it looks sort of like this. So this is what the chord progression looks like, just these notes in the first half of this. So they just repeated that a couple times. So that's the chords, right? There's the C minor 7th, the G minor 7th, and then the F major. And so I actually ripped the audio from YouTube, and I now have this, and I kind of sped it up a little bit, but this is what it sounds like with those keys in there.
Feeling like what you done to me, I can't really explain it. I am so ill.
Now we can take those chords and we can apply them however we like in our own track. So now that I have those chords, I can use those in a new way. So if you're having trouble with chords and hopefully you got some kind of value out of that, drop a comment below. Let me know if this helped you out at all and what was your biggest takeaway from this video. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you've already subscribed, be sure to hit the little bell right next to the subscribe button. So that way you'll get notified as soon as I upload some new video content.